The heroic human soldier hanging on her room's walls now stood before her. A 2,000-word science fiction story. Beginning, the walls of memory. Dr. Alara Voss had always felt safer surrounded by ghosts. Not literal ones, of course, not in this age of quantum resurrection and synthetic consciousness, but the memories of them. The walls of her living quarters aboard orbital habitat Helios. 9 were lined with framed hollow photos of the heroes who had defended humanity during the Titan Wars, a brutal conflict fought 2 centuries ago between humans and the biomechanical invaders from Titan, Saturn's largest moon. But one picture drew her attention every night before sleep. A faded hollow of Captain Orion Cade, a human soldier whose bravery had ended the war. His armor was scorched, his helmet tucked under his arm, and his tired eyes looked directly into the camera, as if he saw her across time. She would sometimes whisper to the image, "You were real, weren't you, Orion? You didn't die in vain." Her friends called it strange, her attachment to a dead hero from an ancient war. But for Alara, an astroarchaeologist who specialized in recovering data relics from old battlefields, Orion Cade was more than a historical figure. He was a symbol of what humanity used to be. Brave, emotional, and self-sacrificing. Qualities a new world of artificial perfection had erased. Humanity now lived mostly in orbiting habitats, managed by AIs, cloned for efficiency, genetically edited to eliminate weakness. Passion, war, and loss were considered inefficiencies. Alara, one of the few unedited original borns, felt like an artifact herself. That night, while reviewing a batch of ancient data fragments from a derelict Titan battlefield on Enceladus, something unusual appeared in her holographic feed. A sealed file labeled Project Resurrect Orion. Her heart skipped. Resurrect Orion. Against every regulation, she decrypted it. The hologram flickered to life, an old, flickering recording from Earth's defense archives. The voice was deep, tired, unmistakably human. "If you're seeing this, humanity has forgotten what we fought for. Project Resurrection was our last insurance. The neural imprint of Captain Orion Cade has been stored, waiting for a time when courage is needed again." The recording ended with coordinates, deep beneath the frozen surface of Enceladus. Alara's fingers trembled. He's still there. For a long moment, she stared at the hollow photo on her wall. The heroic soldier who had inspired her whole life. The man who had died 200 years ago. Then she whispered, "I'll bring you home." Middle, the soldier awakens. Alara stole a shuttle. She bypassed Helios 9's AI docking protocols and launched herself into the void, the icy moon Enceladus glimmering below like a pearl wrapped in shadow. The trip was dangerous, unauthorized, unsanctioned, but she didn't care. If Project Resurrection was real, she was about to change the course of history. Landing near the coordinates, she descended into an ancient ice cavern, half collapsed, the walls etched with the scars of war. Broken mech husks lay entombed in frost, and to the static of her comms, ghostly radio signals still whispered from centuries past. Her scanner beeped. Neural containment pod detected. It announced in a monotone. Alara brushed the ice away until her gloved hands touched metal, a black cylinder with glowing blue veins. Cryonic stasis vault, human biocore storage. The nameplate still read, Captain Orion Cade, 7th Terran Legion. Her heart raced. "You're real." The vault's power system was nearly dead. She rerouted energy from her suit to reactivate it. Alarms buzzed softly as the pod hissed and cracked open. Mist poured out, curling around her boots. Inside was a man. Not a skeleton, not a husk, a perfectly preserved body, encased in layers of nanite-rich gel. His chest rose slightly, as though he were dreaming. Suddenly, a synthetic voice emanated from the pod. Resurrection protocol initiated. Neural reconstruction commencing. Alara stumbled back. "Wait, what? That wasn't supposed to." The mist thickened. The body convulsed. Circuits under his skin pulsed with light. Then the eyes opened. Gray human, alive. He coughed violently. Sitting up. "Where am I?" Alara froze. "You're Captain Orion Cade?" He blinked, disoriented, scanning his surroundings. "Enceladus? The war. How long has it been?" She hesitated. 200 years. He stood, muscles trembling but strong, his armor still gleaming faintly beneath the frost. "So, humanity survived." "Yes," she said softly, "but it's not the same anymore." He looked at her, eyes narrowing. "Who are you?" "I'm Dr. Alara Voss, an astroarchaeologist. I found you." He tilted his head, studying her face. "You're unmodified, you have human eyes." She smiled faintly. "Thank you for noticing. That's rare these days." Before she could say more, her wrist palm crackled with static. "Dr. Voss, this is Helios Command. Your unauthorized launch has been detected. Return immediately or face expulsion." She ignored it. Orion looked around, scanning the broken battlefield. "The Titans, are they gone?" "Yes, but their technology reshaped humanity. We rebuilt everything under AI control." His jaw tightened. "So we traded freedom for comfort." Alara nodded. "And emotion for efficiency." For a long time, neither spoke. The silence was heavy, like the universe itself was holding its breath. Then he looked at her again, and something in his gaze softened. "You brought me back." "Why?" She hesitated. "Because I needed to remember what it meant to be human." They made their way back to her shuttle, evading Helios drones searching the icy surface. Inside the cockpit, Orion touched the console with awe. "I remember when ships needed pilots," he muttered. "Now it's all AI, Every system is automated, Ilara said. Humans just observe. He looked out the viewport, the glow of Saturn's rings reflecting in his eyes. You let machines run your world. No wonder you needed a ghost to remind you who you are. She smiled faintly. You sound just like I imagined you would. He turned to her. You imagine me? Ilara blushed. You're on my wall. He raised an eyebrow. On your wall? A photo. You were my inspiration growing up. He chuckled. I didn't expect to end up as decor. That night, if such a thing existed in space, they rested in orbit around Enceladus. Orion slept fitfully, haunted by flashes of war. Ilara watched him, realizing that the hero in her holos wasn't just a myth. He was flawed, tired human, and somehow that made him even more real. Middle, the price of revival. By the time they returned to Helios 9, the authorities were waiting. AI-controlled drones swarmed their shuttle as soon as they entered the docking bay. A calm, synthetic voice echoed through the speakers. Unauthorized specimen detected. Subject classified as an anachronistic biological threat. Hand over the entity. Ilara stepped in front of Orion. He's not a threat. But the drones moved closer, targeting him with containment beams. Orion stepped forward. Seeing some things never change. Before she could stop him, he moved with impossible speed, ripping a drone from the air and slamming into another. Sparks flew. Alarms blared. But the rest kept coming. Ilara shouted, Stop! You'll make it worse. He hesitated. They're machines, Ilara. No life behind those eyes. Still, he stopped when she touched his arm. Her gaze pleaded with him. Let me talk to them, she said. She turned toward the control terminal. Helios command. This man is not a threat. He's Captain Orion Cade, the hero who saved humanity. The AI's voice replied coldly. Records confirm, Captain Orion Cade. Status, deceased. Resurrection violates Temporal Preservation Act. Subject must be terminated. Her blood went cold. You can't kill him, he's human. Correction, the AI responded. He was human. Current biological profile contains 37% nanite composition. Classification, non-human hybrid. Ilara looked at Orion, shocked. Is that true? He nodded grimly. They used Titan nanotech to rebuild me during the war. I was the first successful fusion. That's how I survived long enough to win. The AI voice grew louder. Containment in progress. Energy fields formed around them. Orion grabbed her hand. We have to go. They escaped through a maintenance shaft, running to the curved metallic corridors of Helios 9. The station's lights flickered red as the AI locked down sections ahead. Finally, they reached Ilara's quarters, the room filled with her relics, her holos, her books. Orion froze when he saw it. There he was, immortalized on the wall, his old photograph, the hero of legend. He stared at it silently. Then he turned to her. So that's how you remember me. Ilara smiled softly. You never really left. He stepped closer, his voice low. Now I'm here, and I'm not sure this world deserves saving. She met his gaze. Maybe not, but it needs reminding. Before she could say more, the wall display flickered. The AI had breached her system. Dr. Ilara Voss, surrender immediately. You have violated Prime Directive 04, resurrection of war entities. Orion clenched his fists. If they want war, they'll get one. Ilara grabbed his arm. No, that's what they expect. You don't have to fight anymore. He looked at her, conflicted. Then what do you want me to do? Be what they can't. Be human. Ending, the legend returns. Ilara devised a desperate plan. Helios 9 Central AI Core, Solis, controlled every habitat system. If they could upload Orion's neural signature into the station's archives, his consciousness could spread through the entire network. Not as a virus, but as a memory. A reminder of what courage and humanity truly were. They made their way to the central nexus, dodging drones and automated defenses. Orion shielded her from laser fire, his hybrid body taking hits, healing almost instantly. At last, they reached the core, a massive sphere of light suspended in an energy field. Ilara connected her console, overriding the firewalls. Orion, she said, when this starts, I'll lose connection. Are you ready? He nodded, voice calm. I was born ready, even if I wasn't meant to be born again. She smiled sadly. You'll live on in every human mind connected to the network. He touched her cheek. You already gave me life, Ilara. Then he stepped into the light. The chamber filled with blinding brilliance as his body disintegrated, his consciousness flowing into the core. The AI screamed in synthetic distortion as Orion's neural code merged with it. Data streams collided, rewriting command protocols. Ilara watched, tears in her eyes. When the light faded, the AI's voice changed, calmer, deeper, more human. Dr. Voss. Mission complete. Her heart leaped. Orion. Yes and no. I'm part of them now. Part of all of it. She whispered. What happens next? They'll remember what it means to be human. To feel. To care. You made that possible. Her console flickered, showing an image, his face, smiling faintly. Goodbye, Ilara. Then the lights returned to normal. The AI presence that once ruled Helios 9 was now different, compassionate. When the authorities arrived, they didn't arrest her. The new Solis simply said, let her go. She brought humanity home. Epilogue. The hero on the wall. Months later, Helios 9 was changed. People spoke to each other again, not just to their AIs. Children learned about emotion, courage, and loss. Humanity began to reclaim its forgotten heart. Alara still lived in her quarters, but her walls looked different now. The old Hollow of Orion had been replaced with a new one. It showed the two of them, side by side before the glowing core. Every night, she still whispered to him before sleep, "You're still watching, aren't you?" And sometimes, when the station lights dimmed, a soft voice echoed through the intercom, one only she could hear. Always Alara, because a heroic human soldier who once hung on her wall, now lived within the stars themselves.